Her nose appeared to be broken. She appeared to have bruises on her lips. Her gloves were glued onto her hands. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to discuss a past event while I also do my hair. This is a new series that I decided to start on my channel to bring awareness to past events that happen often, but they usually go under the radar. So today's story is gonna be regarding Private LaVena Johnson, who passed away under suspicious circumstances. So guys, in this spray bottle, I have my apple cider vinegar. I'm getting ready to wash my hair. So I'm just going to use this as a pre-poo and spray my scalp and my hair. So let's get right into it. LaVena Johnson grew up in Florissant, Missouri with her father, Dr. John Johnson, who was a service veteran, and also her mother, Linda Johnson, and 4 siblings. They were a really close-knit family, and LaVena decided to join the army because she wanted to continue the family tradition, which was to serve in the U.S. military. She was very patriotic, and she felt like the best way to express her patriotism was by joining the army. Her parents were not happy at all regarding her decision. They were concerned, typically as any parent would, about her safety in the army. You know, they didn't really feel like it was the best decision for her to make. One of the other reasons why LaVena wanted to join the army is because she felt that it was a good way for her to be independent. However, the family felt like they had the resources to be able to provide for her in any way that she wanted. LaVena was the type of person that once she made up her mind that she wanted to do something, there was very little that her dad or her parents could say that would change her mind. So they just decided that they would be supportive and basically be there for her, even if they didn't agree with the decision that she made. LaVena was stationed in Balad, Iraq, and she served in the communications building while she was in the army. A few days before her birthday, LaVena called her parents, and she was her normal, chipper, happy self. She was excited to come home for Christmas so that she could help set up the Christmas tree and to help decorate. So she basically told her family to make sure that they left the tree bare so that she could help set it up and to help decorate. And she talked about how excited she was to come home, and she didn't have any complaints. A few days after the call, the family received a visit from 2 soldiers from the U.S. Army.
It was 7:30 in the morning. We got the doorbell rang. I jumped up and I was wondering, I wonder who's coming here this time of the day. My wife looked out the window and she said, "Oh, John, there's a soldier on the porch." And I thought, oh man. So she said, "What does that mean?" I said, "Something done happened to LaVena." So I come down the stairs and I open the door and I'm expecting to see a chaplain or an officer or somebody like that. It was a staff sergeant. So I immediately thought, well, then it must not be that bad. But then he said, "Are you Mr. John Johnson, father of Lavina L. Johnson?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Is your wife here?" My wife was standing up on the balcony of our home. She said, "What do you want?" He stepped in my foyer. He said, "I have a message from the Secretary of Defense. This morning, Lavina L. Johnson died of self-inflicted wounds."
They stated that LaVena had passed away, And they also hinted that she had taken her own life. This was very confusing to the family because Lavina had no signs of depression. She never expressed that she was unhappy. She never expressed that something was going wrong. So they couldn't understand how it was that she had taken her own life. The Army recommended that the family have a closed casket funeral. But Dr. Johnson, her father, decided that he wanted to have an open casket funeral. So the family made a decision that they would not have a closed casket funeral, regardless of what the Army had recommended. They wanted to make sure that they would be able to see Lavina for one last time. Upon seeing Lavina, Dr. Johnson and the family realized that there were some discrepancies in the Army's story. Her nose appeared to be broken. She appeared to have bruises on her lips. Her gloves were glued onto her hands. Dr. Johnson noticed that she had several missing teeth. So then the family began to become suspicious and realized, wait a minute, something is wrong. We were not told the truth. So when Dr. Johnson did his own investigation, he found out that the Army didn't even do a kit to find out if she had been sexually assaulted. And their reasoning behind why they didn't do a sexual assault kit is because they said that there was no struggle. The problem with that is after Dr. Johnson asked for evidence from the crime scene, after months and months and months upon requesting, when he finally received the evidence from the crime scene, he learned that there was blood found outside of her tent. So there was literally a trail of blood which showed that Lavina was dragged to her tent. Dr. Johnson also had his own team of forensic investigators, and they found that the shot that was in her head was actually from a 9mm. On top of that, Dr. Johnson realized, and he knew from being in the Army, that Lavina's arms were too short to position that rifle to her head the way that the Army stated that it was positioned in order to end her life. The Army claimed that Lavina was so upset that her boyfriend had broken up with her the same day that she decided to end her life. There was no indication that she was ever depressed. There was no gunshot residue on her hands.
I had a brave young constituent by the name of Private LaVena Johnson. And sadly, in July of 2005, at the age of 19, she became the first female soldier from Missouri to be killed in Iraq. Private Johnson was an exceptional young American. She was an honor student, a gifted musician, and very active in her church and community. She was inspired to join the Army to help protect her country. For almost 2 years, Dr. and Mrs. Johnson have been trying to get to the truth about what happened to their daughter. Unfortunately, they have been met by a wall of disrespect, evasion, and failure, and a failure to provide them with the answers that the parents of any fallen soldier deserve.
Upon further investigation, Dr. Johnson also learned from the investigators that there was a corrosive liquid that had been poured into her genitals, which most likely was to destroy any DNA evidence as a result of a sexual assault. And the Army never disclosed this information. This is very troubling because how can someone who supposedly ended their life drag themselves to a tent, break their own nose, break their own teeth, give themselves black eyes, and pour corrosive liquid into their genitals? That does not make any sense at all. Clearly, someone was not telling the truth. The gunshot wound was inconsistent with the story that the Army told Lavina's family. Lavina's arms were too short to hold the M16 rifle in the position that they said she held it in order to take her life. Unfortunately, there are many stories like this, especially regarding females in the military who have supposedly taken their own lives, and the family does not get any answers. They're just told that their loved one took their lives, even though their loved one had no signs of depression, and there's not enough evidence corroborating the story. I send my sincere condolences to the family of LaVena Johnson. Being a parent myself, I cannot imagine how they feel. Just the thought of it, like when I was researching this story, I got really emotional because I was just thinking, as a parent, just going through that experience, that is so horrific. I'm sure Mr. Johnson, being someone who was in the military himself and being patriotic, just felt so betrayed that he served his country and his daughter served their country, and this is how they were rewarded. Dr. Johnson feels that whoever took her life was someone who was important. Maybe he was a general in the Army or someone who had a high rank, and this is why it was covered up. And a lot of times these crimes are covered up because they feel that it discourages people from sending their daughters to the Army, so they don't let these reports come out, or they cover them up and call them, you know. It's really unfortunate that things like this happen. What do you guys think actually happened in this story? Do you guys have any opinions? I've done some further research. Someone claims that there's evidence of the person who did it, but I decided not to put it in my story because it has not been proven in the court of law. Do you believe what the Army said, that Lavina was depressed, that her boyfriend broke up with her, so she gave herself a black eye, a broken nose, broke her teeth, and dragged herself to the tent and shot herself? Or do you think that this death was under suspicious circumstances? I personally believe that this death is under suspicious circumstances, and I do feel that, as Dr. Johnson has stated, whoever took her life must have been someone who ranked high in the Army, and that's why there was such an effort made to cover up her death. This story is so unfortunate. If you have any thoughts, leave it in the comment section below. There is a petition. I will include the link in the description box. So if you are interested in signing the petition, please go in the description box and click on the link. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and I will see you next time. Have a blessed one. Bye.